The Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio. Motorsport Radio. The Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio.
Hello and welcome. This is the Superbike Show. My name is Lester. Welcome to Motorsport Radio. If you're just joining us for the first time ever, well, we try and do at least one show every single week, either on a Monday or on a Tuesday. We're here on a Wednesday because I was busy for the past 2 days. And tonight we just so happen to be talking about all things bikes, mostly superbikes and the BSB Championship in the support races, and also a bit of Superbike and BSB gossip, as well as looking ahead to this weekend's big British Grand Prix at Silverstone, the Octo British Grand Prix in MotoGP. And here to talk about it with us, please welcome back onto the show, it is Mr. Bike himself from the pit crew online. It is Kiko Alexander Giles. Hi, Kiko.
Evening, Lester. And again, I think we're a day late actually today. We normally do it on a Tuesday, but again, as long as I'm in your company, we're all right.
Such a charmer.
I try.
So, Kiko, what have you been up to at the weekend? Where have you been? What have you been doing?
I was at Cadwell Park, and it was very busy there. Some great racing. British Superbikes has never been stronger this year, and I'm just so glad to be a part of it all. Really spoke to some amazing people. Lots of gossip for next year, lots of gossip on this year, the remainder of this year. But all in all, the old rumour mill is well and truly turning around this year. Yeah,
we've got lots to get through as well, including, I suppose, what Kiko calls breaking news as well. And I suppose only the internet will judge whether it is breaking news and how worthy that news is, I suppose, after we've spammed it all around and let everyone have their say on it. We'll get to that later. But first, I suppose it's just only right and that we mention some sort of traditional news.
The Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio.
Visual radio at its finest, ultimately.
It is, it really is.
So, Kiko, let's get started then. The big news as of today, Wednesday.
The big news as of today, Wednesday, where do you want me to start? We'll start in British Superbikes, and this conversation stems from Saturday afternoon when I spoke to Steve Buckingham, who owns Morello Kawasaki. Now, my understanding of it all going into that conversation was that team would be doing anything and everything to keep hold of Danny Buchan for 2018. The team are rumoured to go back into British Superbikes, but they are focusing a lot on the stock thousands. But that's not the case. I can tell you right now that Danny Buchan, under no circumstances, whether that be Superbikes or Super Stocks, will he be riding for Morello Kawasaki. There is no chance that that will happen. So Danny Buchan will not be remaining with the team of which he's leading the National Superstock 1000 Championship with, which I find a little bit unusual, because I thought that team would be pulling the stops out to keep him. But it's not through lack of interest of going up to Superbikes. The team understands that Danny doesn't want to go and be what would be a development rider. He wants to go to his team that is already established and already set up, and they're giving him that chance. Danny has told me, public knowledge and in our own phone calls, that he doesn't want to be in Stock Thousands next year. And I don't think the fans want him to be in Stock Thousands next year, because he has the bags of talent to be in British Superbikes, if not elsewhere on the world scene. So news to me and news to you all there. Danny Buchan won't be at Morello Kawasaki next year.
So what is the... you've mentioned a little bit there, but do you believe that is what is the actual case? I mean, where might he be going to? He must already have something else in mind if he's already sort of said no to it.
Well, he'll be like the rest of the British Superbike paddock. He'll be talking to Superbike teams. He might be talking to teams on the world stage. Of that, I don't know who, and I don't know, and we won't know who until Danny has signed. But one thing is for sure, he doesn't want to be in the Superstock Thousands for next year, in Britain anyway, and doesn't want to be part of a development team, so that would mean going into a new team. Okay, Morello have been there before, but they've never run the same bikes that they do now. They've run the old Kawasaki's, so it'd be a big learning curve coming back into the championship. It's changed a lot since they've been out, of course, with tyres. Regulations have pretty much stayed the same, but competition level has obviously grown. Danny wants to go into a team which is established. Whether that will be a team that is factory or privateer, we don't know. All we know is that he won't be at Morello next year, which is astounding, but at the same time it would make sense. They don't want to hold him back in his career.
Well, if you've got any opinions on this sensational news, I suppose that Kiko is breaking, and I should stress is this definitely confirmed news, or is it a hot rumour?
It's confirmed by Steve Buckingham, who is the team owner of Morello Kawasaki, and I don't think it gets much more confirmed than that. My source is the guy who employs Danny now, so
fair enough.
It's about as strong as it gets.
You heard it here first, and let us know what you think about this news. Do you know where he might be going? Is it a bad decision? Is it a good decision for Danny? Let us know. Get in touch with us tonight on the show. We are live right now on Motorsport Radio, streaming on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitter as well for first time. Yes, Kiko's eyes lighting up. Wow, the technology is
Lester, for a man of 52 years of age, you don't half impress me sometimes.
I was tinkering about on the internet before you were born, Kiko.
I bet yours. I didn't know you discovered the internet until about 5 years ago.
Yeah, anyway. All right, so moving on. That's one bit of news. And
bit of Morello Kawasaki news.
Oh, yes.
So there's a lot more coming through, I must stress. Alistair Seeley is talking to the team, and we all know Alistair Seeley is a established Superbike race winner, established Supersport race winner, and an established National Superstock 1000 race winner. He's won multiple races, I think 17 times now at the Northwest 200, so putting Alistair on a bike, of which he's run very well by a great team, would make sense. He's not the only rider who's in line. Josh Elliott is another. He won the Superstock 1000 Championship for the team back in 2015. He's had a bit of a difficult couple of years with Tyco, and he had a few Superbike outings this year. He's struggling in the Superstock 1000s, but it looks like he's having a test with the team at Donington Park in September. Another one is Josh Day from Moto America. He had a massive crash at Road Atlanta last year. It's famous. Go on YouTube and look it out, or go elsewhere and look at it. He looks like they're going to try and get a test with him, and also Luke Jones, if they can fit him in, because obviously we all know timing regulations, testing regulations, and trying to fit it in, because it is a big circus at the end of the day. You don't always have time to go testing. But Luke Jones, of course, who was left without a ride after the McAdams Yamaha team took on Keith Farmer when Luke injured himself. He needs a ride, and looks like Morello talk to him. There was one last bit of news regarding Morello Kawasaki, and that is that European Superstock 1000 rider Kevin Manfredi looks like he really wants to work with the team more than anything, and he wants to take the team to the Stock 1000 level, and he wants to kind of prove himself. I don't think the team doubt his ability, but we've seen time and time again the European riders can't really gel with the quirkiness of British tracks, so that team would probably step up to European Superstock 1000s if that dream was to be pulled off. So it's all go at Morello Kawasaki, and when I speak to him again, I'm sure I'll speak to Steve at Alton Park and hopefully give us an update there.
Well, you've done some good news, some good bit of journalist things so far.
Well, I tried.
Well done for getting those other bits of news. And there's almost kind of too much to talk about. We're looking back at what happened on the show at Cadwell, and we're looking forward to this weekend's MotoGP. And I do want to stress we are actually live right now, so do feel free to chip in with your.
If all my haters want to hate on me at once, that's absolutely fine. There's loads to get through, though. There's absolutely loads to get through. So if you do hate me, I'm sorry, we won't actually give you publicity this week because there's lots of news. Moving on to Taz Taylor, who's out in Aston at the moment. He got there yesterday and he's doing a little bit of testing. Now, the hope is that he'll be back on the grid. I don't know what class it'll be in. Hopefully, Motorstars, we know he goes so well in there. He's out in Aston testing and hopefully can be back on the grid for the end of the year. Needs to get some money together, so if you've got a spare 5p knocking around, get it sent over to Taz Taylor. I live 10 minutes away, so I won't charge commission for delivery, but if you want to help out a good young rider and a young British prospect, definitely looking to Taz Taylor. He hopes to be back for the end of the year. The next bit of news, we'll skip the one that we've got on our schedule, Lester. We'll talk about that at the end because there's a new revelation to all of that. Josh Wainwright is coming back at the next round, which is Silverstone, I believe, and he's going to be in the Ducati Tri-Options Cup. Now, Josh Wainwright, you will remember him from the PR BMW of last year when he stepped on that and rode it very well, considering it's his first time on a British Superbike. So he'll be back in the paddock as of round 9. And the other bit of news is a little bit of research and a few numbers for you to ponder over here. It's widely reported that the Supersport class is declining. There is a lack of sales globally, 600-wise, but we know that they are up in some parts of the world, i.e. Thailand. But overall, Yamaha are reporting a decline from 50,600cc motorcycles in 2006 being sold to 5,000 last year. That's a decrease of 45,000 bikes in 10 years. Now, there's a number of factors for that. Superstock, 1,000 bikes, Superbikes, thousands. The big bikes are being more or less made not so much the same price, but they're just as easy to ride as a 600. So why would you go to a 600 when you can have more power? Another reason for that might be the recession. There was a dip all over the world when the recession happened. Leicester, there was a dip all over the world with bike sales then, and of course the recession was the making of Moto 2. Without the recession, the Moto 2 class wouldn't go ahead. It was meant to be a cost-effective class to keep that intermediate class going. So that's some more news to that.
You did really well, by the way, not mentioning anyway.
Brexit, I don't know what effect that has had. Steve Parish seems to think it would have a terrible effect. I spoke to Steve about this. Steve Parish seems to think Brexit will have a terrible effect because it's going to discourage sponsors from getting into the sport. But that's for another day, Lester. We're not going to be talking about that now.
Nope.
We're going to talk Martin Halsall. Now, as far as racing is concerned, Martin Halsall disappeared off the face of the earth, in fact, of the stratosphere, from Alton Park back in May. I spoke to him briefly at Donington Park for the World Superbikes when he was there with Joe Francis as a wildcard. Now, the news is, if you've been following British Superbikes lately, or the British Supersport class lately, you would have seen Joe France had a massive crash at Cadwell Park. So bad that actually he won't be back for the rest of the year, which is terrible for the 19-year-old. He crashed his Mizuno Yamaha R6 up at Turn 1 at Coppice, which, for those of you who don't know Cadwell Park too well, is a very, very fast uphill left-hander. He crashed it. Bike absolutely obliterated itself. There was engines, wheels, all sorts going everywhere. And it brought out the safety car. I think he's at home, but he has got to have a brace on for 8 weeks. He's out for the rest of the year, which is a terrible shame because he hasn't won a race yet. And I think we all expected him to win one this year. So it's a terrible disappointment for them. But also the news for next year, of course, we like to look ahead to 2018 or the upcoming season. And Martin Halsall is weighing up options. Most of them feature Joe Francis. They feature other riders as well. But he's definitely looking to make a return to the big bikes. And he might even look at other series elsewhere. So that's the news regarding Martin, of course. We did want to get Martin Halsall on the show tonight because we know that he is a man of strong opinions and he is very against the running of the Moto 2 bike in the Supersport class. So I know that Tony Scott, the guy who runs Alistair Seeley in that class on the Moto 2 bike, would probably go well against him. So we could have a great debate there. And Michael Howarth, of course, as well, who is pro Moto 2. So, if you want Martin Halsall to get on the show next week, and if you want Michael Howarth to get on the show next week, or anyone who is for or against the Moto 2 running in the Supersport class, without points, the big controversy is, of course, that the Moto 2 bike is not eligible for points. So it's kind of interfering if you look at it that way. Some people would just say it's a development ride. But if you want Martin Halsall on the show, if you want Michael Howarth on the show, or anyone who might have differing opinions on that, let us know. Let's get them on, and we're going to have a bit of a question time debate, just bikes.
That sounds like a really good idea, to be honest, because, the actual question time, not that you cool kids ever watch it, because you're off doing other cool stuff, but yeah, it can get a bit rowdy, I suppose.
Yeah, you could be David Dimbleby. You know, you'd have to, like...
because I'm old and grey?
Yes, okay. Yes.
Fair enough.
Yes, there is that as well. But no, if you would like a nice, healthy debate, a reasoned debate, get in touch. We'll do our best to see what Martin can do. I don't know where he is. I know he's listening somewhere. I don't know where he is.
Yeah, I've just tagged him on Twitter.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute. But no, I don't know where he is.
I think I have. I've tagged someone called Martin anyway.
Oh, okay. It's probably not Martin himself then. But no, if you want him on the show and if you want to hear a few different opinions, because I know mine can get a little bit boring sometimes, get in. Let's get in touch and see what we can do. Have a nice reasoned debate and, see what we can come up with.
Yeah. Anyway, but basically, yeah, if you keep it civil and then we can all agree to disagree, and we will certainly air your comments as long as you keep them somewhat nice, I suppose. Yes. And talking about getting in touch with us, how can they get in touch with us, Kiko? Or you specifically?
Well, they can follow you guys on Motorsport Radio on Twitter. I think it's M Sport Radio or something like that.
Yes, it is.
And it's got Facebook. You can follow them on Facebook, which is Motorsport Radio, or Motorsport Media. You can follow me at MotoGP Kiko on Twitter, or you can add me on Facebook at Kiko Alexander Giles. You can add me on Snapchat if you're desperate, Kiko Mate, M8. You can go on the Pit Crew Online. That should be your go-to place anyway for all the news and the gossip regarding the motorsport world. It's not just motorbikes we do on there, of course. We do the boring four-wheel stuff as well. But now if you want to keep up with us, there's a range of platforms. Instagram is another, but I wouldn't advise following my Instagram because it's boring. And also, you can follow the Pit Crew Online's Instagram, which is mainly cars, but still very good. Loads of ways to get in touch, and you should go and do just that.
Or you can just add your comment in the comments box below, or if you're watching on Twitter or wherever, send us.
You're listening online, of course, as well. We know there's people who listen online.
Yes, we also do live radio as well and podcast as well. That's the thing. Motorsport.radio. Join up to that and join up as a listener as well. Yes. Right, that took 10 minutes. Okay, so next, what have we got up next then, Kiko?
We've got, I think we got World Superbike news, have we not? Let me just find my piece of papier. Here we are. Yeah, we'll do World Superbike news. Not a lot of it, so this shouldn't take long. Since we last spoke, Marco Melandri has signed for another year on top of his Aruba.it Ducati deal. Probably going to be riding for a bit of money this year because they've actually put so much money into Jorge Lorenzo. Marco Melandri's on peanuts, really. He's on curry sauce and chips. That's his currency for this year with Ducati. The Lausitzring will finally be getting rid of on the World Superbike calendar. Too many years it's been on, I'm afraid. Won't miss that one.
Isn't that because it's sort of closing down to be, I think, maybe like a German test track facility or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I heard it's going to be a test track. Whether or not World Superbikes will use it as a test track, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to test, to be fair.
Machines.
Well, I don't know. It definitely won't be crowd numbers. There's about 3 people there all weekend again as well. But yeah, that's becoming a test track. So whether or not there'll be a German World Superbike round at all next year is kind of the question.
Where would it be?
Well, this is the question, Lester. World Superbikes is not the big attraction it used to be. That's not just for riders or teams, that's for circuits as well. So the Nürburgring probably won't go ahead because it costs so much money to go there. The Sachsenring will be unlikely because obviously they already have MotoGP go there. The Hockenheimring, I'm not so sure, probably more F1 orientated for safety. And if the MotoGP riders and World Superbike riders moan about tracks as they are, would we really want to go to somewhere that's a little bit half and half? I'm not so sure.
I think that'd be good around the Hockenheim.
Yeah, the new one, I don't know. I think the new one could be improved for bikes, so with gravel runoff or whatever, but I definitely think it'd be a great circuit. Nothing like the old Hockenheimring, but nonetheless, it'd be all right. The only circuit I could actually think of is Oschersleben. The one that they use for the 8 hour, I think. Is it the 12 hours or the 8 hours? They use it there. It's part of the FIM Endurance World Championships. They go there. Bradley Smith has rode it as well, so it got the big names riding it, and they've been there before, and it's a great circuit as well. It's probably one of the best ones in Germany that are open now and are able to be used, but definitely Oschersleben, for me, if they're going to choose any, would probably be my number one. The crowd like it as well. So, and obviously there's German interest. There's BMW. So, and you've got Stefan Bradl, who'll be there next year, and hopefully Marcus Reiterberg will come back. So there's loads of opportunities there, and the market is definitely there in Germany, but they've got to choose the right circuit. For me, Nürburgring won't happen because it's going to be too expensive to run. You're looking desperately at the Hockenheimring, although nostalgia does a horrible thing to your mind. So would people even want to go back there to when they used to see tens of thousands of people? They certainly won't get that. Oschersleben is looking like this one. Don't see it being Sachsenring. So will there be a German World Superbike round next year? I don't know. Let us know what you think on that.
Will anybody miss it, though? That's the thing.
Well, I certainly won't miss the Lausitzring. I think it's a poor circuit. Whoever designed the circuit, you need to be questioned and probably put on some sort of benefit or living allowance, because to design a circuit that poorly is it's embarrassing. So, yeah, really, the Lausitzring won't be missed, not from my point of view, and a lot of riders don't like it anyway. Because it's in a speedway. You know, it's like Rockingham. Who likes Rockingham? No one likes Rockingham. Indianapolis is another. Unless you use the actual circuit itself on the outside, no one likes it. You know, there's a few circuits that riders like if they're built like that. Motegi's one of them. But the news from World Superbikes is, and we've listened to this now for a good year or so, is that it needs to change. People are bored of watching two Kawasaki's and two Ducatis walk off and then let the rest fight it out for fifth. I think a lot of people are getting a little bit fed up with it now, really. And, you know, I know there's change due. We're expecting an announcement in Portugal in September about the regulations for 2018 and 2019. But really, World Superbikes is in dire straits. It's nothing what it used to be even 10 years ago. You don't have to look too far back. You can look back to the 90s. That was its golden era. But even 5 or 10 years ago, you know, it was a great series. But unfortunately, it's gone slightly south for them at the moment.
Do you think maybe Dorna managing its decline?
That's an interesting point, really. I'm not so sure. I think maybe Dorna will want to make money, so I don't think that they are purposely keeping World Superbikes as a second-tier category. They should be keeping it as equal as MotoGP for people who want to go Superbike racing, not Grand Prix racing or prototype racing. I don't know. I really don't know.
If what you're saying is true, and there doesn't seem to be any opposite evidence to suggest that it is thriving and doing well at the moment, other than that British riders are doing well, which is good. But the overall state of the championship,
it's
though,
so boring. British riders doing well has not just made it boring for the French and the Italians and the Swiss and the Spanish. It's made it boring for British people as well. Yeah, because it's like it's a procession. It's like watching endurance racing. I mean, it's going round and round. It's a bit like current Formula One. Just go round and round. You know, they don't. Nothing happens in a World Superbike race anymore. 2 years ago, we had an all-right championship. There was a couple of good races, but it's got to the point now where something has to change. Whether it's rider lineup, whether it's circuits, whether it's the way it's managed, or the prices. Because there's no atmosphere there. You know, whether it's TV coverage, does it need to go back to free-to-air to capture a bigger audience from television to get them to the circuit in the end? I don't know. Control ECU, I think, would be a great thing. People question it because Kawasaki and Ducati would drop out. Would they, though? Where else are they going to test their parts? They won't get it. Well, Ducati might, but Kawasaki won't go to MotoGP. It's their only place to test parts. You know, I personally don't know. I just think World Superbikes needs a massive shake-up. Whether Dorna should be having such an influence, I don't know. Maybe they need to be working across board and looking more to the British Superbike style of regulations, which has actually worked very, very well. So maybe Stuart Higgs, he's got a hand in Motor America. Maybe it's time that he puts his infinite wisdom into powering World Superbikes as well. It needs it.
Okay. That answers my questions then. Carry on.
If you disagree with me, of course, you can always tweet me at MotoGP Kiko, as we've said, or put your comments below, because, it's a topic and everyone's discussing it,
Oh, wait, we've had a comment here from Donna saying, Kiko, shut your face. No, wait.
Who said that?
Donna.
Donna. Oh, right. I was going to say, I'll be impressed if they're commenting. No, well, MotoGP had this a few years ago, though. We seem to forget that. Well, Superbikes maybe it's just going through a patch at the moment.
Yeah, the championship does. They go through an up and down.
Exactly. MotoGP went through it in the mid-90s when it was just Mick doing, and they went through it again a few years.
Yeah, even about 5 years ago, didn't they?
Yeah, they went through it a few years ago when there was 14 bikes on the grid. But the racing was still good. You only need 2 or 3 bikes to have a good race. It's the fact that the gap is ridiculous. The gap is so big it puts the Grand Canyon to shame. That's how bad it is. The gap between first and second at some rounds is a joke. They're not even getting near each other. John, at the end of the day, they've done this reverse grid thing, and it's clearly not worked. It makes it exciting for the first couple of laps, but you're still getting Johnny Ray winning, or Chaz Davies winning, or Tom Sykes winning. I just don't see how they will solve it in its current format. I think the worst thing they've done, right, whoever made this decision seriously needs to reconsider their actual brain cell, or, I think actually it's a great example of human intelligence, or lack of in this case, because who decided to put race 1 on Saturday, race 2 on Sunday? Okay, yeah, some people might say, well, it's great because now we don't have to sit through a Superbike marathon on a Sunday. But that is detrimental to ticket sales. You're now saying to someone, to watch the racing, you have to come on a Saturday, pitch up, spend some money on a tent, spend it camping as well on a Saturday night, go on Sunday and spend more money while you're at the circuit. So overall, it works out more expensive. Why didn't they just say, right, World Superbikes, 2 races, World Supersport, 2 races, and Stock Thousands, 1 race. Stick the Supersport 300 on, have the Superbikes at the end of the day, keep everyone till the end, make it affordable so people can actually go, and you might actually have an half-decent championship. Whether the racing's good or not, I don't know. But you'd have people there. Statistic, there was over 50,000, I think, at Donington at the start of the year for British Superbikes. On race day, there was 18,000 there on the Sunday for World Superbikes. What's going on? It just shows you that British racing is obviously better than world racing. I don't know. Send us your thoughts.
Well, we've had a couple of comments flood in already, Kiko. So thank you to people who are tuned in right now live. Steve Dean says it's the first time tuned in. Good work, guys. Cheers, Steve. And he also asks, why do you think? Presuming this is for you, Kiko, why do you think Superbikes, and again, I'm presuming World Superbikes, why do you think Superbikes can't get people interested?
Because it's been boring for too long, quite frankly, I think.
Yeah, but why can't it get people interested in the future?
I think it could get people interested in the future, but they won't do it as it is now. I've said this for a long time. We seem to go to circuits that are soulless bowls. It's like being a West Ham fan. You don't want to go to the Olympic ground, do you? You don't want to go to the London ground or whatever it is. You want to go to Upton Park. World Superbike fans don't want to go and sit in a boring, lifeless grandstand in Portimao when they do want to sit on a banking at Brands Hatch. And anyone who says to me now that Brands Hatch can't hold a World Superbike race, they're wrong, because over there, right, I've got a pile of stuff. And it says, I've got the FIM grading for circuits, and it says Brands Hatch could race. It could race a Superbike there, world level or national level. Brands Hatch can hold, because it's the right grade. They can hold a Superbike race at Brands Hatch. So, I don't know why we go to these absolutely pointless circuits that cost a fortune to get to, and then the racing is poor. So for me, you have to expose new markets. That's the bottom line. Thailand, brilliant investment. Why they took Malaysia off? I don't know. I really don't. Another one. We've got Kawasaki, Yamaha, Honda. They're all Japanese manufacturers. Tell me where the Japanese round is on World Superbikes. The last one was Sugo, 2004. 13 years. 13 years without a Japanese round.
Does it need it, though?
Yes, it does, because at the end of the day, it's going to Japan, where most of the manufacturers are based, should be a market for them. What we need to do is invest in Asia, right? Okay, so you've got Thailand already. Let's go to China. Let's go to places where actually riding a bike is popular. Dorna should be pumping money into putting a race in Vietnam or Indonesia. You know, you don't need to have them all in Asia. You don't need to have every single round of the World Superbike Championship in Asia. But go to places where biking is popular. Don't make it too expensive, because obviously the cost of living out there is quite low and the wages are quite low.
There is a bit of a difference between going to countries where biking is kind of popular, i.e. lots of people have bikes, and also going to countries where people are rich enough to be able to afford what the sponsors are selling. For example, like India, for example. Just because everybody's got a bike there, it doesn't mean that they can also afford all these other things.
No, but what has happened in Thailand is, right, and it's a brilliant thing, and I happen to have this knowledge. If you go to Buriram, you've got the circuit, which is on one side, and then you've got the football ground on the other. Now, for the first 2 years, I know for a fact, because my dad has been, that they charge, I think it's something like £18, the equivalent of £18, whatever that is in baht, I don't know. They charge you the tour of the stadium, and you get race day for Buriram Superbikes free. So, okay, you might not be making massive markups, but you're getting people in and you're getting people interested. The more people you have in a ground, the more money they're going to spend while they're there on food, merchandise, etc., etc. So then, when they go back next year, there's more of them because they know about it. And then when that offer stops, they all go back anyway because they know they've had a good time and it's not too dear. So we need to go. It's like you're a Honda guy, right? If you ride a Honda in Thailand, you've got a little scooter, 80cc or whatever, and you see Stefan Bradl out there, he's got a Honda. You're going to want to relate to him, and therefore you're going to go and watch him race. That's exactly what they do. That's why if you ever watch the Thai Superbike round, they're all waving Kawasaki flags or Yamaha flags. Yes, they're handed out on entrance and in the main towns around the circuit, but they're going and they are identifying with what's on circuit. So for me, to answer the question, it's all about going to markets that just simply need exposing. India's got a circuit, like you say, go there. Mahindra, I know they're pulling out, but they have a motorsport presence. So for me, I'm not saying don't go to Europe at all and don't go to the States. Obviously, there's other solutions that maybe need to be looked at there. But definitely, you could have rounds where people are getting interested and you get a following then. And that's just how World Superbikes works. And hopefully, like we said earlier, this is just a stint. We don't want this to be the end of World Superbikes, as much as it may look that way to some people. I'm not one of them people. I think World Superbikes has got a massive future ahead of it, as long as we stop the rot now and start building forward again.
So then, of all the things that you mentioned then, Kiko, choose two things that you would do, which are pretty simple, pretty easy, relatively low cost to turn the World Superbike Championship around.
To get more people going, or to make it a better spectacle on
both.
TV? Right, so the top two things I do if you are wanting to get people going, expose markets and actually make it cheaper for people to go. Easier said than done, I know, but, we have to make it so that, you're not looking and thinking, right, we've got World Superbikes on this week. Oh, do you know what? I won't bother. It's 60 quid. Or it's 50 quid on race day.
So to make it affordable for a family.
Just make it affordable, because at the end of the day, without fans, who's watching the sponsors? Who are the sponsors advertising to? Okay, people might watch on your sport, but it's got so boring that you can't. So to get people going, you need to first expose the market and two, make it cheaper for people to go. And to make it a better spectacle, you need to regulate development for factory teams, bring the privateer teams closer, and just have a controlled ECU. I personally think that what you need to do is replicate British Superbike rules. That's all you need to do. Because at the moment, British Superbikes is thriving. We've never had it better. So just do the same for World Superbikes. And if Kawasaki say, well, we're not racing, well, we'll let them go then. Because a privateer team will pick them up. Puchetti Kawasaki aren't going to pull out. So if they're going to do that, let them go. Because their publicity will go down if they do. Johnny Ray probably won't have that, and he'll have a say in whether or not they go or not. But, you know, we're talking a manufacturer that's been in it for years. So are they realistically going to go over one change? Absolutely not. They didn't dominate years and years ago. You know, they've only started doing well the last 5 or 6 years. So, you know, otherwise, did Ducati go in 99 or in 2000 or 2001 when the regulations changed a little bit? No, they didn't. They just stayed and adapted. And that's all Kawasaki will have to do. So anyone saying that they'll leave the sport is I just don't buy that at all. They have to be there to develop their road bikes.
Okay. Thank you. I did ask. That was, But interestingly, though, do you agree with Kiko? Would they be the two things? Maybe, perhaps, get World Superbikes back on, for example, the BBC. Yes, that's where they belong. Good old BBC, for example. And who doesn't remember watching the World Superbike Championship on there?
Well, can you?
I do.
Well, I mean, there was loads of when World Superbikes was on BBC, right? And when it was on Eurosport at the same time. Let's not forget,
but nobody watched it on
BBC. But BBC, they came at a time when Keeley was in the championship, when Edwards was in the championship, when Bayliss was there, Laconi, Lavia, Yanagara, Corsa. There were endless stages. You got top 15, just absolute quality riders. Zaus as well was another. But now, who is the big name?
Well, Jonathan Ray.
Is he big, though? I mean, is he big?
I don't know if I'd pay to go and walk.
See, the
no offence, John.
They're big in the motorsport motorsport world, but back in the 90s, Carl Fogarty was a household name. He was an icon. Everyone, sporting wise, wanted to be Beckham, or they wanted to be some famous rugby player. I don't follow rugby.
That is true. I don't see Jonathan Ray going into the jungle anytime soon.
You know, everyone had this kind of everyone loved Foggy. You know, if Foggy, everyone loved him. It was a massive craze, I suppose. He was a bit of a cult figure, but
personality.
Exactly. But out of the World Superbike paddock now, who do I see it being? That Chaz Davies, maybe. But it's gone so corporate, and it's the same in Everton, I suppose. It's got a very corporate paddock, and I just don't see. No one will be Foggy. You know, you could win 7 World Superbike championships, but no one will be Foggy, and that's the problem. World Superbikes needs to start attracting names which are household anyway, or become such a competitive championship again by attracting those names, where new names are born. And where actually it's fun to watch, and you're not looking at a battle for 7th place as your main TV time. You're looking at a battle of 6 top quality riders. You can have Kawasaki and Ducati in there. I'm not saying get rid of Kawasaki and Ducati. I'm saying make it fairer for all manufacturers to actually compete and get a podium. You know, where's Honda's podium been this year? Nowhere. Have MV had a podium this year? No, they haven't. Had they won last year? No. Is Leon Camio a podium contender? Absolutely, yes. Yes, he is. So make it fair, make the racing better, and get people trackside. World Superbikes is on its knees, and for goodness sake, it can't go on for much longer. Because soon you literally will have no one going to watch them because it's boring. Look at the lousy Leicester. If you go on now and you go on Eurosport and they show like 30-second clips of certain points throughout the race, you tell me where the people are. Tell me where the people are. They're probably over at Cadwell Park watching British Superbikes. You
say that. I am looking at a thumbnail on the World Superbike website of the German round Lausitz, and it is looking back at, I suppose, looking like from the camera point up to the first corner. There is actually a bit of a crowd, albeit in that first grandstand. Not a completely packed grandstand, and I don't know what the other grandstands were like.
There's probably about 13 people there. If you see
at least 500, I would say.
500? 500, Leicester, 500.
Maybe 800.
Mechanics. That's probably the mechanics. You know, gone are the days, right, when World Superbikes was packing 100,000 people in at World Superbikes at Brands Hatch, excluding journalists, excluding mechanics, riders, PR people, and all sorts of irrelevant doings in a team. Now we can't fill one grandstand. And I partly think the Laos ring, it's a poor circuit anyway, and who's going to want to go there because it's boring. But, where have we gone so wrong in all this? It's sad. I've got packs of DVDs over here. You watch back at Shane Byrne doing a double in Brands Hatch 2003 as a wildcard, 100,000 people there. Not only do they not go to Brands Hatch, but the British round of the championship, which is at Donington Park, gets 18,000 people. I just don't know how have we gone so. How have we lost our way so much in all of this?
Well, a passionate Kiko, Alexander Giles, berating the level of World Superbikes and desperately wanting it to be back to where it should be. And do you agree? Do you have any opinions on this? If so, get in touch with us right here on the Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio. And yes, we will certainly read out all the comments, as many as we can that come in. Stephen Dean, been on again. Kiko, he says, Ray, a few years ago, was easily the same level as Cal.
Yeah, I agree. And unfortunately, Johnny turned down the right to go to MotoGP, and he's made it very clear that he will stay in World Superbikes, which for him is very good. He'll want to break Carl Fogarty's records and whatever, and for Kawasaki it's good because they don't need to look for two riders. Unfortunately, from a fan's point of view, unless the rules change, I can't see anyone beating Johnny Ray. So therefore, it'll probably become a procession again, and no one wants that. But, again, I'm not knocking the talent of these people. I just make that clear. Tom Sykes, Johnny Ray, Chaz Davies, Markham Andrews sometimes. I do rate the Yamaha boys.
But you're sort of devaluing their achievements currently because by saying that the championship isn't.
The depth of talent is not there. When Carl Fogarty won his championships, you were going up against people like Scott Russell, Daytona champion, ex-World Superbike champion, John Kaczynski, 250cc Grand Prix champion, Akira Yanagawa, Noriyuki Aga, both Japanese sensations and champions back home, Troy Corser, former champion, Aaron Slight, had done the business before and was always top three rider, Keeley, ex-Grand Prix winner. You had a solid field, and they continued after Foggy for 4 or 5 years. The talent didn't just fade away. But what I'm saying is, it's not that equal anymore, where the talent could be shown on the world level. So now you don't see Leon Camu's talent being shown against top runners because the rules don't allow MV to really be competitive. It's not an equal setting for all. There's no one rule for all kind of thing. So the factories are always going to dominate. The big factories are always going to dominate, and unfortunately that's what's happening. And the talent of some riders just isn't shining through. Jonathan Ray's talent has always been there, and I don't doubt that because he's the only rider to ride the Honda, the old Fireblade, very, very well. So Johnny Ray's got bags of talent. Tom Sykes has got bags of talent because he actually won his championship when it was very, very competitive, when there was 4 or 5 riders in there. That's just my thoughts.
Well, Kiko's popular at this moment, and we thank you for very much tuning in to the Superbike Show here on Motorsport Radio. And if this is your first experience of what we do, then you're more than welcome to join up to our website, motorsport.radio, and join up as a listener and get involved and get some of the biggest, juiciest gossip from our website as and when that occurs. Incidentally, just to give you a quick update, if you are a bit like Kiko and or the rest of the world not been paying too much attention to the World Superbike Championship, Jonathan Ray is about 7,000 miles out in front.
With 8,000 Leicester, it's 8,000.
Oh yeah, sorry. With 381 points, Tom Sykes 311 points. Chaz Davis is back in 2016 with 276 points, and then it's Melandri in 4th place with 218 points, and it's not really worth talking about anyone else, to be honest.
But look at that though. This is what I'm saying. First to second is 70, and then my maths says that's 35 up to Sykes from Davies, and then you got to look back to that's like 58 points.
So, over 100 points from first to third.
But then look at fifth, 169 for Alex Lowe's, 381 for Jonathan Ray. What's that? That's 212 points. That is ridiculous, quite frankly. But if you flick over and look at World Super Sport, the depth of talent has been as strong as it's ever been. Lucas Mahias is leading by 1 point from Softwall. You got Sheridan Marias in third. He's come really good this year. Cluzel's underperforming for me, fourth, but Jacobson fifth. Carrie Casula's had a run of bad accidents, including one at the Lausitz, and we wish him very well from that one. But as far as I'm looking at that, the top four are still in the championship. If you flick back over to Superbikes, the top one's in the championship.
Yeah, I'm just having a quick look at some of those names and looking for the, I'm sure you do it as well, look for, where's the highest placed Brit going through?
Yeah, we're not doing too bad, actually.
Well,
yeah,
Kyle Smith is the highest in 8th place on 44 points. Easily could get right up there, as you say. Kyle Ryde as well, I think former Cool Fab Racing British Minibikes Championship rider, in 10th.
125 champion in Britain, former Stock 6 champion in Britain. Look at what we're producing. Look at that. Beautiful. Luke Stapford, former Super Sport champion there, in 12th. They keep going down, them names. I'll tell you, Gino Ria, 21st, doesn't belong there, I'll tell you that. But Joe Francis, 31st, his wild card, again, was brilliant. The Super Sport class is fine. To be fair, I wouldn't even change Super Sport. I think that's perfectly fine. Superbikes, though, it's mesmerising me. Every time I even mention World Superbikes, I can't help but get upset and angry. And
Superbikes is like your Brexit, isn't it? It's
yeah.
Anyway, I mentioned it again.
I'm not angry at Brexit.
Anyway, we'll move swiftly on to the next thing, though, Kiko. Don't set him off. So, yeah, have we talked about all of the support classes in BSB?
I don't think we have we, Lester? Super Sport was an interesting one this weekend. Cadwell Park, always a good one. Always a good track for all kinds of racing. But actually, the Super Sport races were probably the most boring, unless you named Keith Farmer, who dominated both events. Sprint race was his on Saturday evening, and the Super Sport race on Sunday was also his. Andy Irwin didn't help his cause, crashed out in the first race out of the lead, and he was more or less in the running for a good race in the second race. And then he crashed because he was offline going into Hall Bend, didn't correct himself, and by the time he came out for the third part of Hall Bend, he was already more or less off the bike. He crashed and didn't finish. So the gap in the championship now, I think, is 72 points back to second. That's massive. I'm sure it's 72 points. That's a long way. You know, I personally think Keith Farmer's got this championship sewn up now, and then there's 8 races left in British Super Sports, but I think Keith didn't have a ride at even the start of this year. He's absolutely incredible. That kid has jumped from a stock 1,000 bike last year onto a Super Sport 600 bike this year, and he has made it work. That kid has got bags of talent. Not been on the road all his life, of course. He's not been like some of these guys on it from 13 or even 6 now, we're hearing, but he's come into it in the last 10 years and he's loving it, you know, and he's obviously got bags of talent. If he wins it this year, which I'm pretty sure he will, I'm fairly confident in saying that he will be the only rider to win a Superstock 600 championship, a National Superstock 1000 championship, and a British Super Sport championship. Now, that is an achievement. If he isn't on a British Superbike next year being paid, I'll be shocked.
Well, interesting thoughts, and I've just remembered that we've completely skipped past me and my Alzheimer's. I've just remembered that we've actually skipped past some of the main news that I wanted to mention regarding the actual BSB races, and a little prediction that you've made as well, Kiko.
What are you on about, Lester? Sorry, I didn't hear you then.
On this show a couple of weeks ago, you said what exactly? Now, I'm not actually going to play the clip just because I didn't actually have time to fish it out. But Kiko's got a really unique ability to say something and the exact opposite of that, whatever he's just said, seconds later, happens.
Yes, Well, I said that McCann's Yamaha wouldn't win a race this year, and they have. And I will be the first to congratulate him. Very well done. James Anderson rode a brilliant race. And to be quite fair, the McCann's Yamaha team looked great all weekend. You know, they had Michael Laverty up there in the first race. So, you know, I am officially a know-nothing retard. So, you know, bear with me on that one. But no, I will take blame for that. If your team, if your team is struggling for a victory and you need points on the table, talk to me. I'll slag them off. They will do well. I swear to God.
Yeah, I think maybe what you said. I think it was on last week's show, actually.
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I think.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know if it was... Now, anyone who knows this famous, famous clip that Kiko did, when he made his commentary debut at the Cool Fab Racing British Minibikes Championship, he said, this rider's he was leading the race. Who was it? Ollie Walker, I think it was.
Ollie Walker.
He's leading the race, and we're approaching the end of the end of the race, and he was looking really, really strong. A rider just behind him, but he was looking really, 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 really fantastic. And he was in your mind, you thought.
He just took the lead at that point. He took the lead at turn 1 at Tattersall.
Okay, well, you got a better memory than I have, obviously.
Well, I know.
And he said, well, barring an act of God, he's gonna win this, barring an act of God. Boom! Immediately, just after the words had left his mouth, down he went.
And now, are you going to play it?
I'll play it later.
Oh, okay, that's really nice of you.
Yeah.
But no, British Superbike race, yeah, brilliant. First race was mental, absolutely mental. I saw Jake Dixon trying to get up the inside at the entrance to Hall Bends, which is not necessarily passing place. Didn't quite work. Leon Haslam took that victory. Jake Dixon second. Shane Byrne third. However, none of them three finished the second race. Jake Dixon crashed at Hall Bends. Shane Byrne had a problem, of which is yet to be discovered or made public anyway. And Leon Haslam crashed after a mighty lunge up the inside, going down into Park Corner, the third corner, or the right-hander at the end of the Park Straight, to those who know Cadwell. So that was an interesting one. So that left local lads Lee Jackson and Peter Hickman to dice it out the front with James Allison. Absolutely incredible. I've never heard the crowd get behind one rider before. The only other time I can really relate it to is Brands Hatch, Shane Byrne. Everyone just like shaky, and that is his territory. It's his next door. But at Cadwell Park, the place was bouncing for Lee Jackson and Peter Hickman. It was incredible. And it was a shame for them that James Anderson actually got in the way and spoilt it. But James rode a fantastic race. I think he was way down the order in qualifying, actually. I'm not going to swear to that, though. I might be getting mixed up with free practice. But, definitely a great weekend for McCams, deservedly. Tried hard. They're still not going to get in the showdown, and again next week when I'm back from Italy, actually, because I won't be at Silverstone, but whenever I'm back, I'm sure I'll be proven wrong, and it'll be someone like Luke Mossey or Josh Brooks being usurped of a position out of it. But we're talking miracles, I think, still to get in the showdown. But miracles do happen, and James Anderson certainly will keep trying as much as he can. Well done, James Anderson, and well done to the McCams team. First victory in British Superbikes. Cadwell Park is becoming the circuit of firsts. I think Chris Walker back in 1998 got his first double for Kawasaki there. And then they got in 2014 Tommy Bridewell's first win. In 2014, Peter Hickman's first win and Honda's first win of the year. In 2015, Smith's BMW's first podium and Billy McConnell's first podium. In 2016, I'm not sure what happened that year. I'm thinking, no, I don't think anything particularly. Oh, we had Jason O'Halloran's first podium there as well. And this year, McCams Yamaha TTC's first ever Superbike victory. And, James Ellison's first of the year. So special times at Cadwell Park.
Indeed, and a couple of the riders that I'd been, let's say, keeping my eye on anyway, not necessarily supporting, because I'm officially a neutral. but I've been keeping my eye on a couple, and I noticed that Andy Reid seems to have got to grips with that Suzuki now, and he had a good couple of results in the first race. Just having a quick look, I think he was 13th. According to TSL, anyway, 13th, yep. And in the second race, also, P13. So,
yep.
not too bad.
Could have been a bit better for Reedy, actually, in one of the races. I think it was the second race. He was pushed wide, I think, apparently, by Silvan Gintoli. Obviously not on purpose. Well, I wouldn't have thought on purpose anyway. So Andy Reid definitely is getting to grips with the Tyco BMW. He is starting to come on now. And Tyco's faith in him is paying off, because, you know, sometimes you get a team that will give a rider just a weekend, learn the bike. And then, you know, you think, why? What was the point in that? What was the actual exercise in doing that? You're just making it impossible for them to learn. But Andy Reid's there to the end of the year, and he's showing that he is a quick rider. We all knew that anyway. But he's showing that on a superbike, on a big bike in Britain's premier motorsport category, he can deliver. And if they keep him on for next year, I have absolutely no doubt Andy Reid will be in the top 6, he will be on the podium, and he may even win a race. And how good would that be? Tyco BMW are yet to win a race this year. They won't want to wait till next year, but if they did wait till next year, I wouldn't say Andy Reid's a million miles off giving them that celebration.
Yeah, and when he dived on that Tyco BMW, it was I think he'd not done anything for the entire season up until that point. I don't think maybe he did some testing that we don't know or something, but so I think he's done all right.
Yeah, Andy Reid last year had done a few rounds for Pete Excellence on his Bournemouth Kawasaki. He was a full-time rider. Unfortunately, he had a really, I think it was a really bad wrist break. So he was out for the year, really, which kind of left him without a ride, so to speak, for the rest of this year. Tyco put faith in him, put some money into him, and gave him a chance. And sometimes all a rider needs is a chance and a bit of faith and support. As my phone is absolutely going mental, sorry about that. A bit of faith and a bit of support, and, you know, the results will come, and that's exactly what's going to happen. And I hope the same will happen to Taron McKenzie. If Kiko can just stick it out to the end of the year, set him some realistic targets for next year, and carry on. Because I believe that Andy Reid and Taron McKenzie, in their respective classes, have bags of talent and will work their way to the top. Just quickly, I am having a little text come through here. The rear sprocket bolt sheared off on Shaky Burns' bike. Now, I'm not saying who that's come from, because that wouldn't be fair. But
is that an official source? Is that an official word?
That is an official source from my source. So that is a disaster for Shane Byrne, and that will be investigated. I have no doubts about that. What was I going to say? Oh yes, the Superstock Thousands. So we've cremated British Superbikes, and we've burnt alive the Supersport. So put a final nail in the coffin for Superstock Thousands. Danny Buchan, 9th win of the year, I think, for him on the Morello Kawasaki. That's because obviously I brought my good luck to the team on Saturday with Steve Buckingham. So Danny performing well, absolutely spectacular over the mountain as always, and he was a bit mired in the first part of the race. You had Mission Racing's Chrissy Rouse interfering with him, and we'll get on to more about that team later. And you had Richard Cooper there as well. So there was a three of them. Chrissy Rouse riding amazingly well, fantastic rider. He's actually just graduated from the Uni of Newcastle in maths. So obviously he's got a very calculating mind, because of some of the moves he was making at Cadwell Park, I swear to God, I've never seen made before in my life. But we said we'll come on to Mission Racing. We will do that just now. Then Chrissy was disqualified from the results. I'm just going to go on Facebook now and check what that team put out as their statement.
So Facebook.
Yes, brilliant news source. That's where I get all my information from. Is
to be honest, that's where I get most of my information from.
I don't talk to any teams in person. I just literally just talk rubbish. But I will have a look. Right, now I am not aligning myself with the Mission Racing team here, and I'm not aligning myself against the Mission Racing team. But this is an official statement that the team put out yesterday, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Courtesy of Cadwell Park British Superbike Race Day. I'll move it up here so I don't look like I'm being ignorant. Jordan qualified very strong. That's Jordan Gilbert in the Stock Sixes. Qualified very strong for race day and immediately hit the ground running with a strong start. He made a small mistake in the hairpin, which cost him a few places. He put his head down and finished fourth, and they're delighted with the result. Chrissy put on an amazing show, which I can definitely vouch for that. Tabasco at the front all race and swapping with Danny Buchan and Richard Cooper for the lead. Towards the mid-race, Danny Buchan found his rhythm and began to pull away, with Chrissy Rouse coming home second and Richard Cooper third. After the race, the BSB officials requested a full engine strip given our strong dyno readings. Now, for the last few meetings, it has been reported that the Chrissy Rouse's team, Mission Racing, have been a little bit on the high side as far as readings are concerned. Now, they were told to strip the bike. We were told that we had advanced cam timing in the bike. This is not the case. We were requested upon advice to check again once the engine was cool, not 15 minutes after the race. We returned 45 minutes later to the controlled engine bay, but the tools to check the timing had left the circuit. We collected some timing tools, but we were refused to use them. I requested the engine be sent sealed to an independent BMW dealer to be checked, but again was refused. The engine was eventually taken to BMW on Monday morning to be checked. It's 100% standard and legal, so many unanswered questions. Chrissy's podium should still stand, and we will fight for this. Thanks for everyone's support during this matter. So that's the lowdown there. Pretty an interesting way to, I don't know, kind of end proceedings, because Chrissy had been on it. Chrissy had really looked good. He looked strong. He looked very brave. He always looks brave anyway. Called him Dangerous for a reason. But no, looked absolutely fine, and just a disappointing end more than anything that, unfortunately, his podium was stripped. Will they give it back to him? I don't know. We'll have to find out when we get to Silverstone.
Well, yes, indeed. Thank you for that brief explanation about what happened. I'm not sure I entirely understood most of it, but there you go. Let us know anyway if you're tuned in live to the show, and either via our stream on Twitter, which we are just testing right now. The main places are Facebook Live, on the Motorsport Radio Facebook, and on our website as well, motorsport.radio. And hello to Kevin Malloy as well, who I know is trying his best efforts to tune in and stay tuned in. Kevin, the show is incidentally available to download as a podcast, as an audio podcast. So if you don't have time to watch us, or maybe you don't want to watch us for some reason, because we've got faces for radio and all that, that's fine. You can also download this as an audio podcast, and it sounds beautiful if you play it while you're in your car, basically, as you're driving. It's a perfect place to listen to us, I suppose. So that's the thing. Head to our website, motorsport.radio, sign up as a listener, and join the Superbike Show. And you'll get regular updates as and when shows come out, and when you can download them or watch them as well in our visual radio. So there we go. Have we kind of touched on all of the things that I wanted to mention about you getting things wrong?
I think so. I don't think I got anything else wrong. I hope I didn't get wrong. You're going to prove to me now that I did get something else wrong, I'm sure.
No, certainly not. Not much anyway. No, I was wanting to just have a quick word regarding the Moto Star as well, the championship, pointing out a couple of the I wanted to ask you as well, perhaps, who were your sort of standout performances from Cadwell in all of the main categories? So if we start and then go through in order, I suppose. So BSB, the two let's say the whole weekend as a whole. Who would you say did the best?
I'll do two riders then for each category. First one has got to be Jake Dixon in British Superbikes. Absolutely incredible what that kid is doing this year. And also, we must send our best wishes to the Dixon and Roberts family. Not for me to say why that is. You can go and find it out for yourself from Jake Dixon. But we do send our very best wishes, and we hope that the circumstances are not forever. We hope that they do get better, and that hopefully everyone is okay come the end of the year or whenever that may be. Go to Jake Dixon's Facebook, you will understand what I just meant. So Jake Dixon, definitely one of them, trying so hard, and you got to admire the kid. 10th and 11th last year at Cadwell Park. He was leading both races at one point. Fantastic stuff from him. Crashed out to lead in the second race. Next to him, Lee Jackson. Lee Bob Jackson. What a fantastic meeting. He always goes well at Cadwell Park. Every year he starts to perform at Cadwell Park. Again, he's done the same this weekend. He was leading the race. Like I said, the crowd wanted him so much to win. And that, ladies and gentlemen, could be his kickstart for the year now. It's a shame we don't go to Cadwell Park first. Lee Jackson probably be in the showdown, but definitely now he's got his first British Superbike podium. I hope that's opened the floodgates, and hopefully we could have a Lee Jackson, a bit of a fiery end for Lee at the end of the year. That'd be fantastic for him. So Jake Dixon and Lee Jackson in the Superbikes. In the Supersport. Yeah, in the Supersport, Keith Farmer, obviously, because the kid's on fire at the moment and no one looks like they're going to be able to beat him. But apart from that, Jack Kennedy rode very well. He had a mechanical failure in the first race. I actually spoke to Dave Tyson before that race and I said, you've not been doing too bad for mechanical problems this year. You've been looking all right. But obviously, in true Kiko Giles style, I go and talk. Exactly. I go and talk to them and they go and retire, and it makes me look like a pillock. But yeah, definitely a good race from Keith Farmer, good one from Jack Kennedy. But Ben Curry looked very good all weekend. So I'm going to give my other man of the meeting in the Supersports to Ben Curry. So fantastic job from him. Really looking good now. I know he's working with a few people trying to get tyre life sorted for one of them. And he's doing a great job. And hopefully he'll have a great end to the year. Deserves a race win, no, and that will come. Stock sixes. Ryan Vickers did well. I'm impressed with Ryan Vickers again. And I'm not just saying that because I know him. He did well. He was very disappointed with the qualifying, having spoken to him. But he came off row 3 and was fourth at one point until he had a bit of a brake issue. And around Cadwell Park, you don't want, around any circuit, you don't want brake issues. But it actually got to the point where it's hard to explain. There's a setting for the brakes, and he normally rides it on 3, which is perfect to reach and grab it. And it kind of, it's like, I suppose it stiffens the brake lever. It doesn't allow the brake lever to come all the way back to the throttle. If you turned it up, like what happened for some strange reason to number 5, it just comes straight back and it becomes to the point where you're breaking your own fingernails off or whatever. So that was a bit of a disappointment, really, and it's not the first time that has happened. So I know they're going to change something on the bike. I was talking to his dad, Paul. They're going to change something on the machine to make that more stable and consistent so that doesn't happen again. But Ryan Vickers, great race, best result in National Stock 600. Let's not forget, he's not been doing it all his life. He's only started this year, so fantastic rookie for him. Apart from that, I'm not so sure on the stock 6s. The Neve brothers obviously looking good. Again, I think one of them crashed. I'm not going to swear to which one that was, though. But yeah, that's stock 6s taken care of. If you go to Motorstar, you definitely got to look at the city lifting boys of Jake Archer and Tom Booth Amos. Again, great results all around. And I think their championship is more or less sorted out now. It's going to go to one of them. Which one, I'm not so sure. What I do know is both of them are going to the British Grand Prix as wild cards. So fantastic stuff for them. Again, more British exposure on the world scene. Jake Dixon is another. He's going over there. He's going to be on the Dynavolt Intact Moto2 bike. So great news for us British motorcycle fans. We've missed Stock Thousands, so I'll go to Stock Thousands now. Danny Buchan. Again, fantastic ride from Danny Buchan. He's really starting to look good now. And look at odds on for taking his second Stock 1000 Championship, National Stock 1000 Championship. So won it in 2014, dominated the year. He's not dominating this year. He's had it harder this year, and I think he knows he's had it harder this year more than anything. Richard Cooper's really pushing him this year. But yeah, Danny definitely gets my ride of the day from that class. Mason Law looked good as well. So Mason Law also on the South Connect Academy Kawasaki. While we're in that team, the other side of the team, the WD-40 team, Tommy Bridewell gave Brent Gladwin his first top 6 ever. His best British Superbike race finish, 6th place in race 2, Cadwell Park. So Brent Gladwin and Tommy Bridewell, very well done on that achievement. The team has struggled, not just this year, they've struggled a little bit this year for numerous reasons, but they've also gone through a lot of riders in the last few years. And, you know, sometimes consistency, having one rider through the whole year, eventually the results will come. And I'm really happy for the team. I know Brent quite well, and I talk to him more or less every meeting I'm there. And I know how much that will mean to him. Top 6. I know it's not what he hoped at the start of the year because he wanted them in the showdown. But 6th, hopefully, will kickstart their season, albeit maybe a little bit late. So Tommy Bridewell again. If you're going to have a bronze medalist in my top 3, he'd be the one who wears it. Okay.
Fantastic. And if you incidentally disagree or agree with anything that Kiko said about the performances over the weekend at Cadwell, then do get in touch with us and let us know. And incidentally, especially, I keep saying that, incidentally. Don't know why. I shouldn't say that. It's annoying. But if you disagree with Kiko, more importantly, get in touch.
I can't imagine why you do that.
And tell us why. Tony Morris has been on.
Oh, God.
Hi, Tony. Thanks for getting in touch with us once again. And he says, Chrissy Rouse doesn't build engines, he races bikes.
Exactly.
So, whatever the outcome of BSB investigation, he just rides a bike, so don't point any blame to him.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that is a shame because we see a lot in Formula One. You'll know this because you watch Formula One more than me.
Did you say Formula One?
I did say Formula One. I think we see, for team errors or whatever they are, if it's out of the rider's hands or driver's hands, why are they being penalised? So,
because they're the ones that are gaining the advantage of, in theory.
Asking for the advantage, are they? You know, if I don't know, if Lewis Hamilton's, what do they even have on Formula One cars?
They have cars.
If his tyre pressure's wrong, okay, if his tyre pressure's wrong, why is that his fault?
Well, it's not so much that it's his fault as though he did it, but obviously, for example, if the team is working on something and they've made a mistake, for example, then the driver, or in this case the rider, would be the one who would benefit from it, and because it's nobody else who'd benefit from it, it would have to be the rider who'd have to take the penalty for it.
Do you not just sanction each team or the personnel or the person responsible for that? Fine them, put it in the pot at the end of the year?
I don't know what options are available. But
I just do not personally think that is the.
But I suppose if I mean, total hypothetical, if say you're riding on a BSB bike, Kiko, I know it'll never happen, but and let's say your team made a strange calculation and they thought it was done in total honesty, but it was in error. You had benefited from it, won the race. Do you think the rest of the entire field would be happy if you'd kept that win, but the team got a bit of a fine? I don't think so. Well, okay. So if I was taking out the results, then that would mean one extra person scores points. So what you have is 15th and 16th in that race score points. You score 1 point each, and then what you could do is just sanction a team. Okay, so say they're not allowed to test or run the bike in free practice 1, so you take a session off them.
I just do not think that why is the rider having to suffer for a team's cock-up?
It is unfortunate if that turns out to be the case, and obviously we'll have to, wait for the result of the investigation, but it's just the way it is. There isn't a better way of...
You're going to have to change the way it is, because I don't think that it's very fair finding a rider who rides bikes. That's what Chrissy Rouse will be employed, will be at the team to race motorcycles, not to build them to spec regulations, not to do this, not to do that. He's there to sit on the bike and ride as fast as he can. And he's done that.
Yeah, I get that. But again, I'm thinking of it from the other competitor's point of view. If say, again, a total hypothetical, if a rider keeps a position in a race because it's not his fault, he was just there to ride the bike and it was the team's mistake or whatever, for example, then it's not fair that the guy behind, knowing he could have had that position, if it wasn't for that rider getting an unfair advantage, not his fault, in theory, but it was still an unfair advantage. It's just racing. It could happen to any rider.
I look at the team, okay, we'll do this then. Whoever's mistake is responsible, you say, right, you don't come to the next race meeting, and then it's down to the team to find someone else, and then that's it served. That's that served then.
It's a little hard.
Because that way you're punishing the team by losing a permanent member, okay? And also, you're punishing the team because they're going to have to adapt to a new member and take him forward, or her forward, because we're not sexist on this show, to the next race. So, to me, that's much fairer, because it's not the racer's problem. It's not the racer's fault. And I'm sure the whole race.
It's also not the other competitor's fault either.
So then, but they would understand that, would they not?
No, because they wouldn't understand that.
I think that Richard Cooper would understand it not.
No, do you think? No. I
think they would.
The other racers would say, "Oh yeah, you got an unfair advantage." And we know it wasn't your fault. We know you just ride the bike. You don't do the engines. But yeah, you kind of finished ahead of us, and yeah, that's fair.
It is one of them things, though. It is one. What's the alternative?
Just to have it as it is now. Have a thorough investigation.
You are the same as me, who thinks that it is wrong for Chrissy Rouse to be penalised. For a team error, which it might not be. We must be very clear on that. This might not be a team error, and he might be given his second place back. But if it remains as it is, if you're like me and you think it's wrong that Chrissy Rouse is taken out of the results, comment, bottom, tweet away.
Yeah.
And talking of Twitter.
Oh yeah.
We have some Twitter banter to report.
Okay. Who's been on? Who is it?
Peter Hickman and Glenn Irwin. Let me just find the tweet. It was a very funny one.
Oh yeah.
If you get the British Superbike paddock kind of thing, hang on, let me find it. Where are we?
Kiko looks for a tweet.
No.
Yeah, the place anyway. While Kiko looks for that tweet, the place to contact us with your views, basically, if you agree with me and the entire rest of the field, perhaps, or Kiko, then get in touch with us. It's at M-Sport Radio on Twitter. It's Motorsport Radio on Facebook. You can go on our website, motorsport.radio. That's just motorsport.radio. That's it. And let us know. Alternatively, of course, you can also chime in with your comments in the comments box of this stream as well. So,
just have a look. I'm still looking.
Oh my goodness me. Okay.
It's not too far away. Go on.
We'll have to. I don't know. Get some sort of music, or something.
Improvise, Lester. Come on.
But yeah, I'll just have a quick look at who's been sending in comments as well. And hello to everyone who. Tony Morris has been on again. Hi, Tony. I think we've got that's the only listener we've got. I think Tony says, read the BSB rules. Rider is responsible for the bike.
Which, I mean, I'm afraid to say I don't always find that fair.
Well, sometimes motorsport isn't for...
That's very true. Very true.
You know?
Where is this tweet? Oh, hang on. Is it this one?
I must say, I've been involved in some riveting radio in the past. This isn't it.
Right. I think it was something along the lines of...
This better be bloody good. Go on.
It is good, as long as you get the reference. It's something like Peter Hickman was sending Glenn Irwin, so the Smiths BMW of Peter Hickman was sending Glenn Irwin of Paul Bird Motorsport Ducati the bill or the invoice for towing, which is a term for slipstream, as we all know. To which someone replied, I can't think who because I can't find the tweet, that they should send 3 years worth. Oh, here we are. Right, we got it all. Never mind my waffling. Peter Hickman said, at Glen Irwin Racing, invoice in the post for FP1, mate. Glenn, are we past? Yes, we are past the watershed. Glenn Irwin said, lol, fucking held me up. Ha ha, said Peter Hickman. And then Ian Hutchinson, best reply ever, said Josh Brooks is sending 3 years worth of invoices over to Peter Hickman, which I thought was a very, very good reply, and just one of them nice little Twitter moments. It was a nice little bit of banter. And I spoke to Glenn about that a couple of days ago, and it is just banter. There's no harm done there. However, a little bit of a step up from banter was Josh Brooks and Alicia Espargaro.
Oh yeah, what's happened now?
Did I report it last week?
I don't remember what happened 10 minutes ago, to be honest.
Well, I thought so. Basically, what happened was Alicia Espargaro wouldn't ride in the wet at the Austrian Grand Prix. Josh Brooks used a wedding dress emoji or a blue dress emoji, and there was a storm over that. Oh, my goodness me. You had... what's her name? I've got it written down somewhere. Lana Sands or something. Lana Sands, some sort of motocross female woman. Female woman? What? Some sort of female world trials champion was the word I was looking for then.
Do you mean a motorsport competitor who is equal?
Yes, of female. Because some people thought that Josh Brooks was being sexist and just misogynist and chauvinistic and all sorts of liberal rubbish, to be fair, because that is absolutely not what it was at all. It was just one emoji, and somehow the Twitter world found a way to fall out. And
that doesn't sound like Twitter at all.
No, Alicia Espargaro basically blew it well out of proportion. Josh Brooks was just arguing a reasoned argument, and Alicia Espargaro says, "I'm faster than you in the dry. I'm faster than you in the wet than you are than me in the dry," and blah blah blah. Went on and on and on. Well, Josh spoke to me about that, and he said even if Alicia came in now, he'd still give him 5 minutes to chat to. So the Josh Brooks side of the argument is solved. I don't know whether it is for Alicia. We'll see how that one rumbles on through and through. I guess that'll run and run.
Okay. Yeah, keep an eye on that. And
of course, this is on Twitter, so you can all find them. You can go and find it all on Twitter. You do not need my assistance to go and do that. You have eyes and you have hands, and you can use both of them in coordination, and you can look for the Twitter.
Yeah, I'm not sure it was actually worth 15 minutes of searching through and listening to you.
15. It was more like 10.
Yeah, I was also talking about social media. I was trying my best to keep up with what was happening with the British Talent Cup online, with not much success earlier today, because they were
things.
Yeah, I know it was being sort of filmed for the BT Sport, and I guess it's going to be on this weekend at some point. But I was trying to follow closely as to what was happening, and I saw a couple of comments coming out from some of the riders' parents on Facebook, who are also taking part in the Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bikes Championship as well. That's how I know them through that. But yeah, that should be certainly interesting. And I still don't know who's actually...
I can tell you for a fact that Thomas Strudwick has made it through, the young star on the standard class 250cc bike in the MotorStar Championship. rides for the Motorsport Ducati team, well, in their umbrella. He's made it through. Massive congratulations.
Well done.
And I will be catching up with him at Alton Park, I can confirm. So, yeah, brilliant news there. We mentioned Jay Abel earlier, but I think you said he didn't get through.
Did I mention that? I can't remember. Did I mention it off air? Anyway,
I think you did mention it.
Yeah, thanks for that. Anyway,
so I was trying to throw you under the bus this week.
Thank you. But yeah,
Jay was saying about the family to me if you want right now.
Jay Abel was in the running for the Talent Cup, and I'm doing a Kiko now and just searching. But yeah, I was following his dad, Mark Abel, and he was providing some much needed updates for me. And yeah, there was a bit of disappointment, let's say, but fantastic young rider.
And let's just give a bit of support, a bit of moral support. If you don't make it through, there are other ways other than the British Talent Cup to be showcased. Because I was against how they did all this.
Why?
You've got how many? 90 riders, was it, on track today? In one session or one day to sort all that out. I mean,
it's good for TV.
Yeah, but I just don't think that was the most efficient way of doing it. But I know
it was quite efficient, to be perfectly honest.
I know it was the most. I know it was very important because Shuhei Nakamoto, the ex-president for HRC, who are the racing corporation of the Honda motorcycle side of things, used to work a lot with Marquez and Pedrosa. He was there officiating, so it must have been good. It must have been very important.
Yeah, from what I understand, there was a couple of different sessions, and I don't know if it was like a knockout session, and some riders got knocked out.
I hope not.
And leading to the final ones or whatever. I'll watch it on BT Sport this weekend, I suppose.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
other broadcasters are available everywhere else in the world.
BT Sport.
Yeah. Keith Ewan's birthday today. Happy birthday to Keith Ewan.
Is it?
It is.
And where are we with the Keith Ewan bingo?
Oh, there is one coming up this week. It's going to be a British Grand Prix special. It's going to be a bundle pack this weekend. You might even have 2 cards to his name.
I have briefly seen this bingo card of yours.
Can you get it up now? And we can demonstrate to the millions of followers that we have right now.
Okay. I will try my best, but I don't know. It might be somewhere hidden deep on your timeline. But yeah, I have briefly seen. Give us an idea of some of the phrases that might have been on it.
Mired is one that he uses a lot. Unceremoniously dumped is another. He always references Mattia Passini's handlebars, so there's another one.
What?
And what else is there? There's loads. There's absolutely loads. I've got it here, Lester.
All right, go on.
I will tag you in the comments.
Oh yeah, here we go. Is there a different one? Because I've got one for the Dutch Grand Prix one.
I have the Austrian one, the latest one.
Oh, okay, go on.
So you've got these names of the circuit, because I tried to tailor them to be as close to the circuit that we are at as possible. So Keith Ewan went through all the old names for the Red Bull Ring, such as Deltweg, the Oostenrijk Ring, the A1 Ring, which I still call it, and the Red Bull Ring. So that's one. Berm is another one. He always mentions berm, out on a berm, so the outside of the circuit. Trail braking, as when a rider's trail braking into a corner. Mired, as I said. Bagnaia is another one. They love raving about Francesco Bagnaia. Slipstream City. At the Austrian Grand Prix, he kept mentioning carbon fibre forks. Lorenzo's crash helmet was a Diablo version, so a special one. Loads more. I tell you what you need to do is make a drinking game out of it. So every time he says one of them, you take a shot.
I'd be...
There's your idea for a night out.
Night out, Jesus. I suppose.
I heard you were banned from most places last.
Or alternatively, you could, I don't know, I know some people have like a sweet game where instead of having shots, you could...
Why would you do that? It's just so boring.
Perhaps, or if you prefer sweets to alcohol,
Which
a lot of people like to stuff their face. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm saying nothing. But
or if it was in your case, maybe a black pudding game.
Oh, black pudding.
Have a shot of black pudding.
Yes, I'll have two. Me and the Everquip people, I always go on about the Everquip racing team. Fantastic hospitality, as ever, by that guy from that team and them guys there. Run out of Hornsey, of course, on the lovely Olderness coast. I bought them some black pudding for our fry-ups every morning. Very nice it was too, I must say. As was the bacon cooked by Jane Goff and the sausages cooked by Andrea. So very nice indeed. I don't think they take orders, so unfortunately, unless you are well in this elite social club, you will not be able to have such a fine 5-star breakfast. But if you ever do get near them, ask them. They're bang on. Very, very nice indeed.
Right, breaking news, sort of. Announced 12 minutes ago on the MotoGP website, the full list of the British Talent Cup riders as of literally 12 minutes ago. So would you like to hear them?
Go on.
Right, so Charlie Michael Atkins, who's 14, Franco Bourne, who's 13, Cool Fab rider, Jonathan Campbell. They've published their full names, including middle names, which is slightly confusing me, which is no need for anything like that.
What's yours?
My middle name is Adam.
Oh, I thought it would be something like Middlesbrough or something. Maybe that's his name.
Harvey Claridge has got 3. So congratulations, Harvey Claridge. Aidan Davey, Charlie Farrer, Brian Hart, Jack Hart, Cam Horsman. Yes.
Yes.
Fab rider. Rhys Irwin, Sam Laffins, Scott Ogden as well. He's got through. Lewis Patterson.
Storm Stacey's got through. I think that was a given.
And as you mentioned earlier, Tom Strudwick, Scott Swan, Ross Turner, Josh Watley, of course.
Yes.
Max Cook. Didn't even know he'd applied, to be honest.
Brilliant.
Jack Nixon. Congratulations, by the way, to everyone who's made the list, and Jamie Davis.
Congratulations to everyone who didn't make the list, though, because their racing career is not necessarily over. Some of these guys are 12, so
exactly. Don't be feeling sad if you like. You're 12 or 13 and you've just been told, not this year, because. I think the limit is 16, and there are a few 16-year-olds who've been accepted, like Cam Horsman.
Benson Seabright as well.
Yeah, and there are some reserve riders as well who's also on the list. Matthew Bower, Jacob Clark, Elliot Pinson, Annabelle Thomas, Eddie Wade, George Hopper. Are the reserve riders as of MotoGP.com's 2018 British Talent Cup Riders article.
Glenn, did you see the 2 names there? Alberto Puig and Jeremy McWilliams. So this is no Mickey Mouse thing. This is the thing. This is what you want to be in.
Youngest rider on that list, Josh Watley, by far, probably.
Yeah?
No, I won't say it, but no. But
what?
I was going to say he's probably no. It's unfair. I'll just say he's a great rider, and he is the youngest on that list. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. But he's been so good in the CEB, hasn't he? In the Moto 4 Championship, I think he runs to Hector Faurbell's team. He's got. These guys are going to be amazing. I'm fairly sure.
And exactly, if you needed any further proof of just how powerful and strong the Cool Fab Racing British Minibikes Championship actually is, a lot of these names who've made the British Talent Cup
have come from there.
Not only come from there, but are still racing in there, and may be in action next weekend at the next round at Wilton Mill, I think it is. Yeah. So, well done. I'd love to see...
All I know is that I will be gracing yourselves with my presence at Donington Park for the end of season piss-up, which I will be so happy to be attending.
Barring any acts of God, of course.
Yes. It's been hit by a train or something on my way there, which I hope won't happen. But if it does, you can all laugh because I predicted it. But no, looking forward to that at the end of the year, Leicester. All things remain the same. Anyway, that was the British Talent Cup. And that was
congratulations to all. And
indeed it was. Congratulations to them. And that British Talent Cup picking, I suppose, took place at Silverstone. And this weekend it's the British Grand Prix. Now, for the last couple of years, we have been treated, last 3 years, we've been treated. For 4 years, we've been treated to some brilliant racing at the British Grand Prix. Weather pending, not all the time, because even in the wet, we've seen brilliant races. In 2013, it was Marquez and Lorenzo taking it all the way down to the final corner. In 2014, they almost did the same. 2015, Valentino Rossi won an incredible race in the wet from Danilo Petrucci. And last year, it was Maverick Vinales taking his first Premier Class win and Suzuki's first win in 10 seasons. So lots of history at the British Grand Prix. And I think, Lester, you should get a little poll up on Twitter and see what's your favourite Twitter Grand Prix? What's your favourite British Grand Prix, I should say? Okay. What is your favourite British Grand Prix? One of mine has to be 1993.
Oh, yeah, who can forget that?
No, seriously, 1993 was one of the greatest ones because it was Luca Cadalora ignoring team orders, and I just think that was one of the pivotal times in motorcycle racing. 1979, I think it was another good one, with Barry Sheen and Kenny Roberts. I think it was 79, might have been 77, I can't remember.
Can't remember? Probably because you wasn't around.
Well, it might have something to do with it. 1983 was a good one. Kenny Roberts and Freddie Spencer and Randy Mamola and Eddie Lawson. Of course, it was a tragic day that day as well. We lost two riders there. Peter Huber was one of them and Norman Brown the other. But British Grand Prix is always an iconic event. Quick fact check for you, though. This weekend, Valentino Rossi will be starting his 300th Premier Class Grand Prix. That is an incredible achievement. That really is 300. And it just so happens to be at the British Grand Prix, the place where he got his first Premier Class win. The numbers add up. Will it be another win at the British Grand Prix from in 2017?
Please don't say anything about it. Don't make any predictions.
I predict.
No, because say the opposite of what you're about to say, and then that will happen.
I reckon.
Don't say anything about it.
Valentino Rossi need to start performing well soon. That's what I reckon.
Okay.
Because they are a little bit down in the championship point standings, and it's looking a little bit dodgy and touch and go whether or not they will actually make the cut to even be in the championship race for the rest of the year. So I'm not so sure that they're going to be there. If they don't win this weekend, they have to be first and second. They have to start taking points off Marquez and off and in form Andrea Dovizioso, of course, more importantly.
Well, I've just been putting out the poll, the question that you suggested. I thought I'd sort of do that on Twitter, asking which is your favourite ever British Grand Prix on two wheels, of course. And we will just literally put it out there, and we'll wait for probably Tony to answer, and probably no one else. I don't know.
Yes, I'll retweet that. That's to give you a bit of publicity.
Fantastic. So that'll be interesting. And also, I should ask as well why it was your favourite as well, because we'd like to know why. I mean, you might have an interesting story. You might have been at the race. You might have, I don't know, have some sort of story that might be of interest. Sharing if caring. Who knows? Yeah,
exactly. I can't think of any interesting stories that I've had from...
I'm surprised that you're not at the race this weekend.
I do have many interesting stories, but some are just better left unturned, aren't they? It's better left in my own knowledge.
I suppose, yes. So where will you be this weekend then, Kiko?
I will be at home. I will not be in attendance for the British Grand Prix. I know I'm very shocked to even see my house this weekend. I've been away for so many weekends now. But no, I will be here. I will be watching the British Grand Prix from my house. I am not going to Silverstone, but I will. And Leicester, let's try and get something together, because we need to do, I think I need to do a little bit of a video diary for you guys from Misano, because the San Marinese Grand Prix is in 3 weeks. And I will be there. I will be trackside. I will be beachside. I will be poolside. I will be restaurant side, beer side. I will be every single side. So that's what we need to do. That's what we're going to do, I hope. And there'll be live updates from Italia, I hope.
The 50 sides of Kiko.
No. We don't need none of that. There's only one side to me. I swear. Oh, what have we done here?
Fair enough. Okay. Yeah, that'd be good. If you could do some sort of video diary or some sort of video content for us, then we'll play it on our radio show, of course.
Yes.
Because we've got into a really bad habit now of doing visual radio, and we're finding that's
yes,
pretty good, I reckon.
Especially when none of us have a face for radio.
That doesn't matter.
A face for visual radio, I should say. What is going on here?
Anyway, but yeah, so that'll be interesting. Predictions then for the Grand Prix this weekend. What do you think?
Grand Prix. I'm feeling a strong performance from Cal Crutchlow. I think he could do something.
So he's going to go down in lap 1 then.
I'm feeling a Mark Marquez vibe as well for a win, maybe.
So he's going to go down as well. Okay.
Jorge Lorenzo. I don't know. I'm not sure, Jorge. He's only ever won the British Grand Prix in even number years.
So
2017 ain't his year.
So he's going to win then.
No.
Yeah. So there you go. You heard it here first. Kiko said he's going to win.
He's not going to win.
He is going to win.
All
right. Cut.
Davizioso.
And then we'll play this bit back next week on next week's show, where you said he's not going to win. I said he will win, and then of course he would have won by then.
By then, none of us will be right, because it'll be one of us has to be right.
Well, it could be someone else. Might be Rossi.
Yeah, true. But that means that I'm right, because he won't win.
Or it could be Rossi.
I think Valentino has an all right chance. I've got to say. Silverstone is a bit of a Yamaha circuit of late. They go well there, but it's Valentino. He's only ever won once at Silverstone. He's only ever won the British Grand Prix.
Yeah, but the stats, the story, it's almost kind of written for him, like you say.
I think the British Grand Prix. Valentino obviously fell out with the British Grand Prix when he got done for tax evasion. I think that's what really did it.
What's that got to do with him winning the British Grand Prix?
Because I think he fell out with Britain at that time.
That doesn't explain why he's not going to win.
No, but I think he started coming to Britain. No, I need to pay my taxes.
That's very confusing. That's the most confusing reason I've ever heard for someone not winning a Grand Prix.
Psychological effects come into it. Get on to Twitter, comment, and tell me why I'm wrong.
Is this going to perilously stray close to a talk about Brexit by any chance?
Obviously not.
Okay.
All the big corporations obviously pay their taxes.
Do you honestly think Valentino Rossi is going to be affected by such things, considering the personalities and the other mind games and the other riders that he's come up against in not just throughout his career but in recent years?
Of course, yeah. No, I think, all joking aside, Valentino has just as much chance as anyone else, really, but he hasn't done particularly well at Silverstone before. 3 podiums in the last 3 years, and one of them was a win. Okay, might sound good, but I'm not sure. I wouldn't back. I don't know who to back, really. I just really don't know. Marquez seems to always go well there, and if we have of course, we could have a wet race. We'd have a wet race, and then we got Danilo Petrucci. He always goes well in the wet. But some news regarding MotoGP, of course. So we did the news earlier, but now we're talking MotoGP for the last 10 or so minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, we talked about the British Talent Cup earlier. The Japanese Grand Prix will be staying for a few more years. That is now been renewed till 2023. So, Japanese fans over in Far East Asia, well done. Motegi will be your circuit for the next few years. And while we're on the Japan theme, Takaki Nakagami will be going up to the LCR Honda team alongside Cal Crutchlow to form a two-man team again next year. Talking of signings, Carol Abraham stays with the Aspar Ducati, and he has earned it before anyone starts on about his dad's paid for the ride. But there is a strong rumour, I've got to say, that Tom Luthi has already signed for Mark BDS Honda. Now, that is a disaster if your name is Sam Lowes, because I thought Sam would be in line for that ride. But if Tom Luthi is confirmed as taking that ride alongside Franco Morbidelli, his arch rival, of course, in Moto2, that leaves Sam some very limited options. One of them might be at Avintia, but there's been reports that you're going to have to be carrying mega money to go there. And I think Avintia would mug themselves off if they didn't keep at least one of their riders. I think Loris Baz is probably the more deserving of the two about that. But no, I do think that Sam Lowes may find himself out in a bit of an ear and a bit of a journeyman for next year. I hope I'm totally wrong there, because he's got bags of talent and it's criminal. And Aprilia, if you're watching this, criminal what you've done to Sam. Not only is it because I'm British, but what more did you expect from him? Seriously, what more did Aprilia expect from Sam Lowes? His rookie year in the Premier class. So, what do you want? To win races? I just don't know. It does confuse me. But we know Sam won't be at Aprilia next year, because that honour goes to Scott Redding, who is now signed at Gresini Racing and at the Aprilia team. He was at Cadwell Park at the weekend as well. Unfortunately, I never got to chat with him. The only other bit of MotoGP news I can bring you is that Bradley Smith is kind of treating the rest of 2017 as a testing year, because obviously the KTM is a new bike and needs a few more tests done on it, and that is what Bradley Smith is focusing on. He's focusing on improving the KTM throughout 2017. So till the end of the year, I suppose Bradley Smith might be more of a guinea pig.
Okay, we'll keep our eye on that. The old Brad Smith progress. Perhaps a couple of comments regarding a couple of predictions that we were just mentioning a short while ago. Shaka Anderson tuned in once again. Hello. Who chimes in by saying Rossi is a legend. Well, yes.
Yes.
Kind of obviously, yeah.
Yes.
I don't think you get anyone who disagrees with that. And also saying that I think it was 77 when Sheen and Roberts were battling. Presumably that would be Chaka's favourite British Grand Prix. I'm guessing. Tony Morris is dived in again.
Again.
Hi, Tony. I think he's predicting a Rossi win, and also he says McPhee Moto3.
Yes, let's hope. I really do hope that comes true, because we know McPhee has the pace, and we know that his bike has the pace, and it is the team's home round. It is his home round, and I am expecting big things from John McPhee this weekend. And I reckon Tony's right. I do think a podium, definitely a win. He can do it. He's definitely capable. Moto2, Franco Morbidelli.
Oh, you still doing predictions? Okay.
Yeah, I think we may as well. Tom Luthi goes very well though at Silverstone. Of course, won the event last year, so we don't know yet. I think Franco Morbidelli and Tom Luthi might be off for another one of their iconic battles. They've had so many over the last couple of years. Let's hope we can have another. Okay.
And I'm just having a quick look to see, do I dare give my opinion as well? I don't know.
On, Lester, for what it's worth.
Oh, sod it, I might as well. I've asked you enough times. Yes. And I'm probably going to be right more than you are anyway.
No one ever.
But yeah, I'd say MotoGP for the actual race itself.
Mm-hmm.
Rossi.
Okay. I'll go Dobby then. I'll go Dobby.
Okay. Moto 2. I'll just say Alex Marquez.
Okay, that's different. Yeah, okay.
Based on nothing at all.
Well, obviously, if you're there.
And Moto 3. I think I'm going to agree with Tony Morris and say John McPhee.
That's fine. I think British supporter side, Jean Mir is obviously the rider to beat. Looks good, and I think
anything could happen at Silverstone.
Anything could happen at Silverstone, and I hope that John McPhee obviously wins because I'm British. But Jean Mir is in form. He is doing incredibly well on board that Leopard Honda. And I think that he could spring a little surprise, young Jean. Not so much a surprise because we know he can win, but I think it could be a little bit of domination. If he gets some time out front, I think he might well just pull away a little bit. We will see on that, of course, when we...
Well, I'm going to have a quick look at the results from last year, if I can find them on the old MotoGP results thingamabob website. And it was... who won it last year? Vinales.
Yeah.
One from... Crutchlow was on the...
podium.
Yeah, he was. I forgot all about that.
My man Cal.
And Rossi was in third. Moto 2 last year, just to refresh your memory, because obviously I remember. Luthi won. Morbidelli second, and Nakagami in third. And Moto 3 last year, it was Brad Binder, Bagnaia, and Bo... Ben Schneider. Him. And, of
course, last year marked the fallout of Sam Lowes and Johan Zarco. Sam accused Johan of knocking him off on purpose. So that one run throughout the rest of the year. So I think we're definitely in for a good weekend across all. And something always happens that's dramatic at a British Grand Prix, and I think that it's that sense of being in a proper British crowd, British circuit.
British crowd, yes, not like the other British crowds. Was that like a side swipe at Donington at all?
No, nothing at all like that. I mean, but you go to some place like, I don't know, you go to some circuits, I suppose, and you just feel nothing. You know, I was on about Solus Bowls earlier, Portimao. But British circuits just ooze this kind of weird, atmosphere that just pumps you up, and it's brilliant. You know, you walk into the circuit, I'll have a bacon and egg sarnie, or give me my black pudding and sausage.
Oh, he's off again.
You know, you don't get that anywhere else in the world. You go to some place, and you wake up, it's like, it's melon for breakfast. It's like, oh, great.
Yeah, God, they're serving me healthy breakfast.
The British Grand Prix is the full fat Grand Prix of the year. That's what I'm calling it.
Okay. Excellent. And I suppose, that being said, I've actually never ever seen any healthy fast food snacks available at a race circuit.
Good. Shouldn't be any.
I would like some. I would probably.
Burger.
No, actually, I think I did. Actually, it was at. No, I forget. No, I didn't buy it anyway.
There you are. So you want it, and you still buy it.
No,
anyway.
Anyway, right. So you're putting aside.
Fact check.
Go on.
The last Italian winner in Moto 2 or 250s was Andrea Dovizioso in 2007. So Franco Morbidelli looking to break records there. And the last Italian winner in 125s or Moto 2 was Mattia Pacini the same year, 2007. Of course, Valentino Rossi won 2 years ago, so that one isn't quite as astounding. But apart from that, the British Grand Prix, it's looking mint this year.
It's the full fat Grand Prix, yeah.
It's the full fat Grand Prix.
Yeah, where you can walk in the gates and get a greasy sausage shoved in your hands and
you want
take your own tin of beans and stuff.
No. Get them all there.
Oh.
I'll tell you what. If he's watching, Stuart Everard, if you're watching, Everquit, get yourselves down to the British Grand Prix and get trading. You'd make a killing. You would. I mean, okay, I'm not there, so I can't buy for 7 people because that's how much I eat. But get Jane and Andrea down there right now. Get them set up, and you'll start earning. Racing and Catering Limited.
There you go, Kiko. So before we I kind of like wrap up the show, I suppose.
We're signing off. Yeah,
we've sort of waffled on for 2 hours about various things. Final thoughts from you? We've kind of covered pretty much everything. To be honest, I can't think that you've left anything out. But
no, I don't think we have. I mean,
yeah.
We have left something out. We should have said this at the start. Condolences to the Hodson family and to the Luptons, because Jamie Hodson sadly died at the Ulster Grand Prix, as did Gavin Lupton. And the Ulster Grand Prix was the meeting. I think it was Dundrod 150. But condolences to them. Motorcycle racing is going through a very, very tough period at the moment, and we wish anyone out there a safe Classic TT, because of course that's on this weekend, and just all in all a safe outing on any bike, because far too often we either start the show or end the show on a sad note. And we all know the risks of the sport, but like I keep saying, when the tragedy happens and it can happen, it still shocks you, because you can expect it all you like, but when it does happen, it always... The risks of the sport. So condolences there to the families of those affected. On brighter news, though, Tom Whedon had a massive accident at the TT this year near the Kate's Cottage section of circuit, which is towards the end. I can't remember the exact name now. But he had awful injuries and has been granted permission to ride. An astounding comeback. Tom Whedon, brilliant comeback from him. And I hope soon, I keep saying this to myself, I will get in touch with Tom and I will ask him about his horrendous crash, his horrifying accident at the TT earlier in May and June. So on a slightly better note, nice to see he's back healthy and fit and ready to race.
Yeah, he was. I was, let's say, keeping an eye on his Facebook, not stalking. Yeah. When you're a journalist, it's just called being a journalist.
It's called stalking to everyone else.
But yeah, it apparently was out for practice earlier today. Apparently, did about 20 minutes. Hopefully, another couple of laps. So he's building on it, so it's good. Good to see him.
Big talent as well. Big talent, Tom. I know he likes going to the TT, and hopefully, he's a bit of a star of the future, and we'll be talking about him
now. Really?
Yeah, exactly. Talking to him, talking about him for many years to come. I really do rate the love.
Exactly, and we at Motorsport Radio, of course, echo what Kiko said earlier, and extend all our deepest sympathies with unfortunate that we again have to keep mentioning so many unfortunate tragedies.
Yes,
there's nothing else to say.
It's just one of them things in motorsport. You have to look at it, mourn it, and move on. Unfortunately, and I think because it happens a bit too often, we've kind of got a little bit used to it, and it's not what I want to do at all. But that's it. At the end of the day, go on. I bet you've got this clip, haven't you? Come on.
What clip?
About my ridiculous commentator's curse.
Oh, that. Well, I didn't have it lined up. I did something else lined up actually. But while I'm looking for that clip, I will ask you, Kiko, if there was what was the thing I was asking you earlier off air about 80s music? That was it.
Oh no. What if there was a what?
Well, while we were sort of preparing to go on air, I was listening to, I think it was like a mashup of some 80s song and some dance remix, and Kiko bounces on and goes, "Oh yeah, do you want to know what my favourite 80s song is?" And
it was not that enthusiastic, I can assure you.
It definitely was. It was.
It was not.
Tell us what it was then.
It was Checkered Love by Kim Wilde, because I am a Kim Wilde fan, and I am pleased to announce I'm a Kim Wilde fan. I'm using it. I don't want to listen.
Kim Wilde. Kiko likes Kim Wilde.
Checkered Flag has come down on this show.
Is it just because it's called Checkered Flag?
No, it's Checkered Love, Lester. Come on.
Oh, sorry, no. Checkered Love. Whatever.
No, I do like the song.
Any more, we'll get taken off here.
Yes.
Yeah. So there you go. That's Kiko's.
What's yours, Lester?
I have plenty of HG songs. Embarrassing one. Now, don't ask me what it is. We don't have time to explain. But I think it's Cyndi Lauper with the theme tune to the Goonies. Goonies Are Good Enough, or the theme tune to the Ghostbusters. That's always a winner.
I'm talking foreign now.
You're too young. That's what it is.
Well, not all of us can be 52.
Thank you. Right, where is here's your moment, Kiko. So yes, thank you very much. So thank you very much to everyone who's tuned in to the show, either live or watching this back. And don't forget, sharing is caring, and you can share the show, and that would help a lot. Thank you very much, and get in touch. If you're an aspiring journalist as well, and you want to be on this show, maybe going toe-to-toe with Kiko, then get in touch with us. You can do it. Well, you should know how to do it if you're online. Anyway, get in touch with us. Let us know who you are, and we're currently recruiting for people to take on Kiko, who makes some really, really great predictions. Stuff like, the Mackems team are really awful and they'll never win. And also,
I thought they were really awful. Now you feel like
well, you may as well have said that or something like that. And anyway, just before I play this, actually, you did make your BSB commentating debut as well.
I did.
How did that go?
Pleasure. Fred Clark obviously gave me lots of feedback, told me where to improve, and told me what I did right. Brilliant. And so happy that I can actually say I commentated alongside the voice of motorcycle racing for the last 49 years. He's been doing it that long. Incredible. Legend. I was stood next to a legend. Yeah.
And, not much else to say, really. But as long as you didn't do one of these, then it's okay.
Eddie O'Shea's got a slight gap over Evan Belford so far. Ollie Walker is still not broken clear. This is going down to the last lap, bar in acts of God. Oh, bar in acts of God, what a commentator's curse that is.
Ollie Walker, commentator strikes.
Ollie Walker has dropped it out
and
the
look
lead.
How angry he is.
Never gets sold. Never gets sold at all.
Well, I do apologise. Ollie Walker, what have I said? What did I do? Ollie Walker,
Classic
I can only
Kiko.
apologise here. I'm in almost tears. James Cook has got an advantage here, and it's massive.
Oh dear. Oh wow, that was it was a.
I'm back at it again at Donington Park, so you can all look forward to me being there.
Yeah, so watch out, kids. Kiko's about. That is literally.
Whoa, steady on.
That is literally for this week's show. Thank you very much. You can also download the show as an audio podcast as well on the Apple podcasty things. Or best place to do it is head to our website, motorsport.radio, and check out Kiko's general breaking news stories and the pit crew online.
We got the
whole world in our hands.
I mentioned Steve Buckingham earlier about Danny Buckingham will not be there next year, and that Alistair Seeley, Josh Elliott, et al. Are all rumoured to go there, are all in talks with going there. The full interview of that, including stuff about this year with Danny Buckingham and Fraser Rogers, and what Steve Buckingham expected at the start of the year, and how he feels the team have got on. All of that will be in an exclusive interview at the Pit Crew Online, so check it out, as will many other things. Exclusive interviews with Ian Hopcroft and all sorts, really. Dave Tyson as well, if he's listening in. Dave Tyson will be, he'll have a good Q&A, so you can all keep up with me through that.
Exactly. Thank you very much for being on the show. Thank you to watching, tuning in live, or listening to the show, because we do radio shows as well, you know. And we'll be back again maybe next Tuesday, I think.
Let's hope.
Yeah, let's do that. Make a date for that. Next Tuesday, 8 p.m, live on Motorsport Radio. Thank you, Kiko.
Motorsport Radio. The Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio.